I can 100% guarantee you will fail selling on Amazon if you sell the wrong products. I went from 0 to 6 figures profit my first year, not just by selling the right products, but also by avoiding the wrong products. And this video is going to be your step-by-step guide to avoiding the products that can lose you tons of money and completely ruin your Amazon business. Let's get right into it. I'm going to show you guys a bunch of examples of the types of products you totally want to avoid selling and a bunch of tips and tricks along the way. So make sure you guys watch this entire video. I'm just going to help you avoid a bunch of mistakes I see tons of new sellers making. The first type of product you want to avoid selling on Amazon is products that don't sell. But how do you actually go ahead and tell that? And that comes from Best Sellers Rank, aka BSR right here. So we can see this is the BSR on a specific product, which we can see on SellerAmp here. It's currently 612K for this product. Pretty much always you want to avoid stuff that's above a 200K rank. Every now and again, it can make sense, but primarily you want to avoid stuff with a high sales rank, stay below a 200K sales rank. The lower the sales rank, the better. And then we could take a look at the Keepa chart on this product. And we also want to avoid listings that are really, really blocky. So it makes sense that this is blocky. There's not much offer count movement. There's not much action going down here on the Keepa chart right here. And that makes sense because the sales rank's so high. So make sure you avoid listings that have a high sales rank where they don't really sell, even if it's top 1% right here, as well as a very blocky offer count movement, otherwise known as new seller count movement on that bottom Keepa chart. The next type of product you totally want to avoid selling is products with IP complaint history. IP complaint stands for intellectual property complaints, where basically the brand owner or the manufacturer of this product kicks all the resellers off. Online arbitrage is built on reselling other people's products. That's why we don't have to do any marketing, run any ads, buy stuff from China or anything like that. You just have to make sure the products you're buying have a reseller-friendly history. So we can see this listing's currently a 13K BSR, so it sells really, really well. But if we scroll down here on the Keepa chart and take a look at the all-time data, we can go ahead and see that in here, back in April 2024, there was an IP complaint where it was buzzing along at like 23, 24 sellers, and then it just completely shot down right here, literally to 0 in one day. So anytime you see where the offer count was going, bob and weaving, it looks really good, then just shoots to 0. That's an IP complaint. Now we can see that other sellers did hop back on this product. That shows how few people watch Flips for Miles videos, I guess. But I'm never going to recommend you sell listings that you can see there was an IP complaint in the past, even though they might have taken it away, hence why people hopped back on here. Or it might just be a bunch of novice sellers that don't read Keepa, that don't know how to tell IP complaints. Take a look at that. And that's why it's really important that you don't just focus on the 3-month data. On Keepa, you guys typically hear me say, look at the 3-month data primarily, but you always have to zoom out as well and see if there's any IP complaints over time, which we can see zooming in right here. There totally was back in spring 2024. So personally, I would never recommend products that look like this. So even if that sales rank's good, even if the offer count movement's good, if there's IP complaint history, you totally want to avoid that product, unfortunately. The third type of product you want to avoid selling is items that are price tanking, aka where the price is shooting down on a specific product. We want listings where the price is either stable or going up and the competition's either stable or going down. If we take a look right here on this chart, we can see that back in April, the price was like 33, and then now in mid-May, the price is like 24. And back in April, the competition was like 5 to like 6, 7, 8 sellers. And now the competition's up at 35, which makes perfect sense considering the price has gone down. So basically when competition shoots up, price goes down, basic supply and demand economics right there. But you want to make sure you're taking a look at that historical data on Keepa so you can actually go ahead and see that, guys. So I get asked all the time, right? How much competition is too much competition on a specific product? Truth be told, there's listings with 60 sellers that sell incredibly well and listings with 2 sellers that sell terrible. And it's all relative to velocity and trend right here. In that listing with 60 sellers, the competition might totally be trending down and the price might totally be trending up. And it might just have crazy volume, right? Which makes a lot of sense there, right? And then the listing with 2 sellers, right, might be super, super slow selling and blocky. Or it might be, listing with 10 sellers where it had 2 sellers a week ago and now the price is trending down here. So you want to avoid these listings that have that negative trend of competition shooting up on the bottom Keepa chart, which shows the new offer count, aka the seller count, or price shooting down on the buy box. But typically, luckily, they both coincide and match up with each other right here. And if the competition shooting up, the price will typically be trending down. So you want to avoid these listings with price tanking and competition shooting up. While we're taking a look at listings that'll ruin your Amazon biz, I do also want you guys to see an example of a listing that has beautiful trend and sales history right here. So if we take a look at this chart right here, we can see The competition is not shooting up. It's been nice and steady and largely trended down. And the price is largely really steady on this listing. So the big things I can see is that the bottom Keepa chart shows really nice, consistent offer count movements. So I know people are happy and I know people are making money on this product. And the price is nice and stable right here. So this is actually an example of a beautiful Keepa chart and totally the type of item you want to find when you're hunting this stuff down profitably, mainly just doing the storefront stalking method as a beginner, right? And the key isn't just finding the good products, it's also making the numbers work on them. And that's what I always work with my coaching students on, is understanding that pretty much every website has 1 or 2 tips and tricks that make the numbers work on a specific product and just that website in general, that brand in general. And that's what I just give my coaching guys to make things significantly easier here, so they can go ahead and track down beautiful, profitable listings that look like this, that have good offer count movement and nice stable price action right here. So this is an example of the type of product you do want to avoid that can make you a bunch of cash when you track down profitably. Next type of listing you want to avoid is listings that Amazon's on it, but Amazon's not sharing buy box. So do not automatically avoid listings that Amazon's on. Don't automatically avoid listings that have the private label alert on SellerAmp. That just means they're low competition. It's on you to check if they're the brand selling it right there. Don't automatically avoid ones with the IP suspected on SellerAmp. You got to take a look at the Keepa chart, right? But a lot of beginners automatically avoid listings Amazon's on incorrectly. What you need to do is take a look down here at the Keepa chart and see if Amazon actually is sharing the buy box here, which comes from the data buy box stats. Taking a look here on Keepa, hitting data and then buy box stats right here, which we can see Amazon has 100% of it right there. And quick glancing at the price history, that bottom Keepa chart, to see if there's any offer count movement. So we can see this is super blocky. So even if Amazon wasn't on this, you would want to avoid it right here. We can see Amazon's grabbing 100% of that buy box share. Totally want to avoid that specific item. But if we take a look at these Columbia jackets right here, we can go ahead and see, even though Amazon was in stock on them for a while, there's beautiful offer count movement. And we can see where it says buy box, there's other sellers getting buy box share as well that aren't just Amazon. We'd see even in this case, Amazon was at 50 when the buy box at 35. So that makes perfect sense that this would still be doing well here. So you got to make sure you don't automatically avoid listings that Amazon's on. You got to take a look at the data buy box stats, see if Amazon's actually sharing it, and the offer count movement to give a quick view of that. So that's a good rule of thumb to implement in your sourcing. It's going to make a big difference. Another thing you guys really have to keep in mind is the difference in variations on products. So when you see a listing that has a bunch of colors and sizes, understand that the sales rank does not change between the variations, right? And that's why sales rank on a listing with variations isn't a great gauge of velocity. What actually is the unique Keepa chart for each specific variation here. So we can see this variation, which is a, black gray size medium here, is not selling really at all, right? There's not much offer count movement. Amazon's holding the buy box. But this specific one right here, we can see there's beautiful offer count movement on this variation, which is a, size large of pretty much the same color, I think right here. This is doing well. So it's really important that you take a look at the specific Keepa chart per variation. It's going to make a big difference here. And the way you can go ahead and find the best variations on a specific product is going here and hitting variations on Keepa, right? And then what we can do is we can go to where it says buy box and we can filter top to bottom here. And then we can look for the ones that have the good offer count movement here and see relatively blocky right there. We can take a look at those. Yeah, it looks great right there, right? And what you have to do is you got to make sure you organize your Keepa variations tab correctly here, matching my columns. A lot of people do this incorrectly here. So just screenshot this, make sure it's perfect. Might have to configure columns right here. Might have to do some drag and dropping right there. Pretty much guarantee you're going to have to do some drag and drop and set that up correctly the first time. Very, very important there. Avoid slow selling variations. And you find that by taking a look at the unique Keepa chart for those specific variations. Those are the products you want to avoid selling on Amazon, guys. If you want to not just avoid selling the wrong products, but also buy tons of the right products and really grow your Amazon business the right way, Prime Day is coming up. Back to school is coming up. Q4 is going to be here later this year before you know it. And now's a great time to apply for my coaching program. You'll work directly with me one-on-one to hit your goals, get all your questions answered. I'll check all your leads. You'll be around other Amazon sellers crushing the game. I'm the only Amazon coach that actually does a one-on-one call with every student. So if that's something you're interested, take a look at the link down below in the description. And thanks so much for watching. Let me know any questions and we'll see you guys in the next one.